this lecture, I will say, bootcamp, it's a bit strange because we are sharing this bootcamp, and we are sharing in really some style. So we tried it previous time, it's worked really nice, and we are playing the game like bad and good policeman. So we are actually going to, in certain moments, going to be like swapped, but like in terms of the showing slides and in terms of also policemen. So policeman, and yeah, but for now I'm good policeman, and Jan is bad policeman. So he's going to ask me many questions, and I'm going to somehow fight against them.
So, how did you like my lecture? No, just kidding. So,
no, come on, it was nice. But
yeah.
I was listening it already second time, and I think he improved it. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, so I think this will be a conversation, so feel free to jump in. I don't know if we still have someone who can run around the microphone, but yeah.
Yeah, Shivani. So yeah, any questions, just interrupt and please ask. Okay, so let's start actually from, yeah, we can switch on screen.
So Pavel, like, how many plugins did you already program? Like, do you know?
I think I created, I think, one and changed a few.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, but first of all, I want to start not from plugin programming, actually.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I want to use the moment because, like, I guess many of people who stay here actually were not afraid of the programming word in the title. So as a result, I think it would be really cool to demonstrate the thing which we actually created not so long time ago. And actually, I've thought to demonstrate how to run mono or how to run MaxQuant on Linux. So the fact that you know probably like for a long period of time, MaxQuant was running just on Windows machine. But in this limitation, there's one. I mean, there's many disadvantages. For example,
I mean, if you don't have a Windows machine, right? You have your university cluster,
yeah,
and they just don't want to. They don't want to deal with you, and they're like, "Why is it not running on Linux?"
Yeah, one thing. Second thing, like usually these clusters are huge. And if you are, I don't know, pull downs of 1,000 proteins, I don't know, you don't want to make your computer suffer, yeah? So, second thing. And the third thing, my private thing, we have a few servers in our group, and we have, we have table schedule, who is going to use which one, and nobody is using, I mean, because, before MaxQuant was running just on Windows, and not so many people really schedule usage of Linux machine. So now, nobody, I mean, still not so many people realize it, but I'm using almost 100% time Linux machine.
You stole the server.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so, okay, as you see, I'm right now standing in a Windows operation system, but now I want to connect to our computer, which is standing in Garching, somewhere near the Munich, in a room full of CO2, and really nice. And huge. No, I just want to make it beautiful because it's really hard to see. I will change, I'm sorry. So, yeah, and I now open it. So, okay, I will write my password. I'm writing it, wrote. So, okay, so this is a big machine. If you look at this, it's really, right now, not so busy. It's even cannot see all cores which we have. It's really huge, so 120 cores. And let's go to the folder. It's actually MQSS 18. It's basically USB stick. I just copied on the server. And you even can see this, like here's a USB here, and like everything which you have on USB sticks, also here. Okay. I will make one thing, it's not really important, but, oh yeah. Okay, I'm now standing here. I mean, actually, it's actually a good question, maybe even ask right now. Oh, this is annoying. So, good question is, how many of you actually familiar with, let's start from Python?
Okay, not bad.
It was something 40%.
Yeah, I would say half, yeah.
It's actually cool. What's about R?
Okay.
I actually R
even more, even,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, and killing question, C#.
1.
No.
2.
This guy.
3.
Okay.
Jürgen.
That's one. I didn't know about it. Okay, something like 6 people. Okay, and how many people deal with like Bash or Linux machine, like on like running some commands? So yeah, I would say same number as a Python, like 40%. Okay, so basically.
So do you have to be afraid of the command line, or?
Oh my God, this sounds like I'm going to sell something. Anyway, no. You should not be afraid of anything. It's actually super nice, and all computers were speaking on through the command line, not through a nice drop button. So, okay, in order to actually run MaxQuant on a Linux machine, you just should be sure that you install Mono. And what I actually ask you to do, actually, where can we find this installation? Basically, if you go and ask Google download Mono, you will get download stable, and basically there's even like set of commands, and if you follow them step by step, and Mono going to be on your computer. So basically the last version 5.12. Actually, I really encourage you to use the latest all the time, and just to be sure, this is now I cannot. Now I can. So this is exactly this version which was written there. So okay. So what should we do? So in order to run MaxQuant, we just basically should write Mono and describe the path to the MaxQuant MaxQuant cmd.exe. And where is this file is sitting? So if you remember, okay, I should go to this folder with USB sticks. If you go to USB sticks, you will see that we had the folder software, MaxQuant, and there we have like bin folder, and in this bin folder you will able to find the MaxQuant CMD. Perfect, it's there. So this is exactly the file which we should call from Mono. So basically if you write Mono software MaxQuant, exactly what I wrote before, just I'm repeating again. So when you write it, you will get, I don't know how to do this in, okay, I cannot scroll it like here. My God, this is like piano you're doing here. Okay, just the function, yeah, I feel like old man already. So if you just write mono.exe, he like basically show you, like he's asking you actually to specify MQPAR file. MQPAR file is basically a file which contains all parameter files, where you're describing everything, experiment data set, all this parameters, many parameters, etc. And there's actually many another parameters which we work on, and actually we're really helping a lot, but I think for the first time, we don't need it. So basically, we don't need it. So what we should do, actually, we should specify MQPAR file, but where to take this MQPAR file? If you actually go to this, you remember in our USB stick, we have label-free dataset in practice 1 and Scilab dataset. I'll just want to show that it's really running. Okay. So let's go to this data. Where was it? Data practice 1. And let's mess up with Scilab. So if I'm copy this folder, let's hope it's going to be really fast. Scilab test. Yeah, now I'm just copying it in order not to destroy information which we had in USB sticks. And anyway, I copied it anyway. So what I want to do right now, I just want to, in this moment, it's really crucial. You should actually change your MQPAR file, because this MQPAR file was basically created in the Windows machine. You can create MQPAR file on the Linux machine, but let's just now follow the simplest path. We just create MQPAR file on a Windows machine and copied it on a Linux machine.
So usually you would just like start up MaxQuant on Windows and then select all the parameters?
Okay, historically, let's say historically, I would do exactly like this before. But now there's a really nice command on MaxQuant, like basically mono, write this path to the MaxQuant, write -c, and describe the mqpar file which you want to create, mqpar test XML. And basically what's MaxQuant is, yeah, you see MaxQuant what it's telling me, so that's he created dummy mqpar file. So basically it's actually really encourage you to use this dummy mqpar file because from time to time mqpar file is changing, not frequently. And you see there's many information here.
So that's what the mqpar file looks like internally?
Yes, horribly.
There's a lot of stuff.
Horribly. And basically, the idea here that's basically you are changing this mqpar file on, you can create this mqpar file on a Linux machine, change it, and just basically take a mono like folder for the MaxQuant and specify this mqpar file. For sure, right now, look actually, right now it's completely empty. We at least should add one raw file.
Yeah, that would be good.
Actually, funny enough, do you know if you run MaxQuant without specifying any FASTA file, you know what's happened?
I don't know.
It's actually, it will not crash. It's not a bug, it's a feature. MaxQuant will go through, everything going to be fine, and because MaxQuant is running against contamination FASTA file.
Oh, okay.
It's, yeah, I think you're getting angry now that I described this trick. Okay, what I'm suggesting to just change this mqpar file and add one raw file. Actually, I don't remember where is it. If we go just lower. Yeah, here we go. So here I just have to specify the where I can find this file. So this direction, this is folder which we just copied. And now if I will insert it here and write the name of this folder, I'm sorry that this looks horrible. It's actually not index. Yes, basically we specified the raw file. It's actually, that's it, it's enough.
So you're in some way redoing exactly the steps that you do in the GUI, just now that you're kind of manually entering all the information.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Another way to say I'm doing the same thing, just in a nerdy way. So
I like it.
But actually, it's really cool. I mean, this is a really very dangerous command, but sometimes important to do. Anyway, so basically, we created this mqpar file, which is strangely named. And now we can basically specify this file as one of the parameters of the MaxQuant. And boom, it's running. And that
until it crashes.
Actually,
yeah.
I don't know what's crashing.
But there might be some. Maybe it didn't find the file. Maybe there was some typo somewhere.
Yeah, but it's anyway annoying. Yeah. So sorry. Actually, it's true. So FASTA file doesn't exist.
Okay.
Okay.
It seems like you implemented some checks now that
yeah, you see, actually,
it's
one
file present.
Yeah. I'm really sorry for this, but it's actually an important point, which I will raise just a few seconds after. That's actually, it's really important if you report such bugs, like, because it's really help us to improve software. So, okay, I will just take one FASTA file and please work. I don't care which animal. Please. Please. Yes. You see, it's testing FASTA file. Yeah. I'm sorry for this, but it's really a lot of fun when it does work. And actually, it's using one thread somewhere, like jumping from one thread to another thread, and it's working. It's really working in MaxQuant on Linux. And it's really cool. And actually, surprisingly for us, it's working in fast. We just took the two servers, which were completely the same configuration, and run it on Mac OS. Oh, sorry, on a Windows and on a Linux operation systems. And actually, on Linux operation system, it was really faster. So you may ask why? I think because like operation system dealing differently with file system. And basically, it can be many reasons, but the fact that the standard configuration of Linux, like MaxQuant running faster. And it's actually really cool.
That's cool. You basically get that for free, right? You just have to run it on a Linux server.
Yeah. Okay, if you have any questions about this part, we may answer.
Pavel.
Yeah. Just a second there. There's one more question. Okay.
So, hi. I was wondering the graphical user interface on Linux. So
It's actually
that should also work, right?
Yeah. In like, for example, you're opening Ubuntu and just typing basically mono. Mono and the way how to find the max quant bin, but in this case it's not CMD, but in this case it's GUI, and actually it would be enough to run it.
Okay, because I've actually been trying to do just that on my Linux machine here, and Max Quant GUI, that one's crashing for me immediately.
But it's Linux machine with, it does have graphical...
Yes, so Perseus works, it's just Max Quant.
Okay,
that's
probably
crashing.
let's do it like this, I will come to to check. Yeah, it's really important thing that's, let's say the command line works perfectly smooth, nice now. There's some problems sometimes, but it's not critical. And but graphical interface, it's under the testing, let's say.
Okay.
But it should work actually. I'm surprised. Should check.
Yeah, maybe we can just after the session. Fix it.
Okay, one more question. It was here, Shivani. Yeah.
Already has a microphone.
Yeah.
Okay, I start. Where did you get the error message for the FASTA file that it didn't exist? So
Yeah. Sorry, why did I...
How did you discover that there was something wrong with the FASTA file?
I was carefully reading error message. Yeah, it was like looks like machine is swearing.
He can read the matrix, you know.
Yeah.
He sees and immediately.
I tried to follow there as well, but yeah, I got.
Yeah, but honestly, come on. There's it's not like magic of matrix. It's like if you go on the tip of this iceberg of the error messages, there's like something is written test FASTA file. Yeah. It looks like test FASTA file not allows MaxQuant to go through. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's go further. Now we're gonna start for Perseus plugin programming. So yeah, thank you. So yeah, so we had like a few lectures already about Perseus, and like few practice about Perseus, and basically what I actually wish to ask you. Like Perseus is really actually cool software. It's like user-friendly, plug and play. And is there any disadvantages? Yeah, I mean, maybe one disadvantage we saw for sure for at least 10 computers, that's when you do clustering, you cannot cut the cluster. I'm sorry, it was really hard to find it like when we tested. We were really testing it several times. We didn't find it, and why? Because our computers were all language specified, so sorry. But is there any disadvantages in Perseus? I mean, it's actually a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. You may say just loudly. Shout. Sometimes the window is way too small. Yeah. Basically, what you can do, in most of the buttons, in most of the activities, you actually can change the percent and zoom it in. But actually, it's really tricky thing. We're trying our best, and even Eugen has small computer in office and a huge computer, and basically a single purpose to test it with small and big screen. Yeah.
So when I joined the lab, like one thing that was kind of missing in Perseus was that I couldn't do like any kind of network analysis.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
I noticed. So yeah, that's the thing. That's kind of the question is, can you program? Can you add some things which are missing in Perseus? It's actually a good question, and it's actually the whole purpose of our bootcamp. But the thing is that there's another problems, which I want to highlight. There's no scripting, and actually I think Jan, you have something to say about this.
Yeah, there is scripting.
Yeah, but how can I use it?
Yeah, so there's some cool functionality in Perseus now that actually allows you to run R and Python scripts like directly from the workflow.
Yeah, but you understand what I mean. Like, I mean that imagine today you had one data set, you run it through, clicked it, and next basically you run almost the same, and you save it as.
So you mean you want to rerun the workflow?
Yeah, I just want to run next day. Just instead of clicking, I want to just basically take my data, insert it plugin into the top of this tree of activities, and at the end of the trees, I will get results.
Yeah,
it's basically what's.
I mean, it's a beautiful dream.
Yeah, I mean,
and I was really interested in solving this, and but there's actually some really hard problems here. Like, for example, what happens when the column names are not the same?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, the scripting, that's hard.
Yeah, but at least I can say one thing. Like, at least in previous year, we were saying that it's our to-do list. Now we can say it's our doing list.
Okay.
Yeah. So another problem, that's the bugs. Sometimes we're finding bugs. So what should we do in this case?
I think for bugs we have the U-track, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and
basically it's true. Like, actually, Jan already on a presentation showed once that if you just go to the Google or another search engine and write, like, for example, Max Quant,
Andromeda.
Oh my God, such a joke. Okay, Max Quant U-track or Perseus U-track. Basically, you just can go to this website. I think it's going to be anyway first hit, and basically you should log in. Sorry for this. I will just fastly write my logins. I hope I will not be spammed after this.
I can hide your password.
Thank you very much, but it already was recorded. Yeah, and really we have, it's actually a really cool feature. Everything is streamed online, and everything is going to be almost everything going to be accessible after the summer school. So you remember this issue about clusterization, yeah? That's in certain computers, you were able to just, for clusterization, select just one or everything, yeah? So, and the important thing about this problem that it was reproducible. It was almost like 10 computers which had this problem. And what I'm suggesting, let's just try this bug. I mean, please don't do it like everyone who is sitting here, because it's going to be 10 bugs, even more. Let's just...
okay, I will close them.
Yeah, basically, we are working on it. We are any bug appearing, all of us are receiving email, and we are really trying to solve this bug as fast as possible. So, how are we naming this bug?
I think something descriptive would be good. Like, for example, hierarchical clustering cannot define row clusters.
Oh my God. Clustering.
So how you spell it in Russian?
Иерархическое. Clustering cannot find the clusters?
Cannot define row clusters.
Define... no, sorry. Row clusters. Which version was it?
Oh, that you have to look. In every Perseus, in the bottom right, there's this version number.
Yeah, let's run it. So version was 1621.
Yeah.
1621, and version. And let's say something hint that's really help us to find out. Probably it's related to it is related to language settings.
Okay.
Just guess. Yeah, and actually you should be polite. I should write dear developers.
Or hey Pavel, that also works.
What? No, it's not true. I mean, it's actually just guess. Best. Okay, and basically we created, and hope actually even Jürgen will solve it right now, sitting in front of a computer. Anyways, he's working already. You know it. Okay, it's actually really important. It's without any jokes. this is really important for us because, as you saw, probably we can test most of the things, but certain combinations, certain combinatorics of the weather, language, country can make a lot of troubles for us. Anyway, so one thing actually we have bug report, but sometimes people have a question, small question, which not really actually related to the bug. It's related to the for example, LFQ question.
Yeah. So then actually you wouldn't go to file a bug report, right? Because it's not really a mistake with the software. So
yeah. So
I think the best place then to go would probably be the Google group.
Yeah, and basically in the Google group, people usually are asking for such questions. And I want to actually once more highlight the sentence of Jürgen's presentation that sometimes we're so inspired by this Google group. That's because people sometimes answering to people who ask questions and just really community actually helping to each other. And actually, it's actually, I would say it's at least really very inspiring. So it's actually easy to find. So yeah, I went through the MaxQuant.
The last one. Yep.
Okay, it's actually, I don't know. Usually, actually, I'm finding through the Google just looking at this like this. Anyway, you see, there's a MaxQuant Google group. Oh my God, you should sign. Anyway, so basically the interface, let's say, it looks approximately the same. You just have to ask questions and up to you. And actually, it's really useful, and we are really trying to answer as fast as possible. Okay, we talk about bug reports and question. So, but basically, as Jürgen said, as Jan said. That's if I'm missing some functionality, how can I include it? Actually, the really important thing, which I would like to highlight, which I cannot do in WhatsApp, without bothering Jürgen or bothering Google Group. And exactly for this purpose, there's a plugin programming in Perseus, and let me plug in you in. So cool. Yeah. We actually, let me make mark here, which is actually pretty new. You remember we asked you about languages which you know. And actually we ask for several reasons, because basically historically, all plugins in Perseus should be written in a C#. But things are changing, and basically thanks to Jan, now you can write plugins on Python and in R. So imagine there's some functionality, some VGCNA, or there's some cool package. You are missing some cool package in the Perseus. You can just basically write small plugin and plug this nice thing into the Perseus.
So did you know that the plugin?
Yep. No, I know.
For writing, if you want to have a plugin that's actually a Python script,
yeah,
you need a plugin for that. So it's actually
a
plugin in a plugin. But in the end, everything is C# again. So it's just some piping that we take over, actually. So
yeah. So and actually, it's he's highlighting the fact that we split our talk on 2 parts. I'm going to talk about all methods, using C#. And Jan going to talk about Python and R with actually demonstration and really super cool pictures at the end. So if you want to program on the C#, you have several alternatives for integrative development environment. Basically, you can for sure use a text editor. Nobody forcing you against this. But in modern time, there's a really super comfy integrated development environment, including Visual Studio, which actually is suggesting you. It's there's a Visual Studio community, 2017, for example, is for free. And you can install and play with C#. There's actually Visual Studio Code. Have you tried this?
Yeah, I tried it. I actually didn't like it so much.
Yeah,
but I think that's a super personal thing.
Yeah.
I think the big difference is that Visual Studio community, right?
Yeah.
It's this, everything is there and it's excellent. I use it every day and I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
And Visual Studio Code, it somehow tries to be a bit more light.
Yeah.
But then somehow I'm so used to the tools that I use. So
yeah,
but yeah, I think it should be working quite well.
Yeah, that's just a really matter of the taste, let's say.
Yeah.
There's also rider, so there's many things. It's just a question of comfortability of yours and what you get to use to.
But I think for now, like Visual Studio Community should probably be the best choice for everyone. Like if they want to just program plugin in C#.
Yeah, I would say that's by default, let's say. Yeah, and let's, yeah. Okay, like now I'm describing C# path. So, but before this, I wish to describe like what's the infrastructure of the, let's say, really horribly sound, MaxQuant world, like ecosystem. So basically, there's a MaxQuant and there's a Perseus, and the cool thing, like that's why I'm sharing a lot of code in between each other. And all code which we are sharing, it's basically CombIO-based, computation bio. So basically, this library contains a huge amount of math, like when you're doing, for example, PCA, or like linear algebra lying there. When you are doing like clusterization, most of the things lying there. So it's actually really like math, and etc. So and actually you can find it on this link, and yeah, and about this I will describe later. So, but the thing is that's Perseus interacting with CombIO-based not directly, but through the, let's say, through Perseus plugins. I mean, or let's say differently. If you look at the current Perseus structure, Perseus looks like really plugin in architecture. So probably at the beginning it was not like it was just solid one program, but looks like Jürgen probably realized at a certain moment it would be really nice to enforce community to help. And like basically next, Perseus, the architecture of the Perseus was changed to the plugin friendliness, let's say. So now basically there's some Perseus code which basically searching in the folder for plugins and basically plugging it in and using it. Yeah, Jan, you want to say some comments?
I really want to program some plugins, man.
Oh my God, okay. So, okay, one thing, just one small thing. This Perseus plugins is actually basically a library which contains most of the activities which you can find in Perseus. It's actually, if you follow this link, yeah, please allow. So, I'm afraid I opened several, I'm sorry, just a second. If you just open this link in any browser, you will see that's like there's a Perseus plugin lib here, and this Perseus plugin lib contains many activities, like which you probably saw. You remember you talked about imputation, yeah, for example?
Yeah.
Really a lot. So basically, you can see that you can find this activity even here. It actually was really a nice case. Like some time ago, some friend of the friends called me and like asked something about imputation from Gaussian distribution, and I just basically answer. And at the end, I was just sending him the link on the line where it's written. So basically, instead of just saying and waving the error, I just really showed the actual example. And you actually can see this code, and it's actually really cool. So, okay. Yeah, before actually starting programming, let's say one more thing. You maybe noticed, if you open Perseus, we have like basically 5 activities, like load, processing, analysis, multiprocessing, and export. So, and basically, I think we already talked about this. I just highlight once more. Upload, basically, you from file system, you're taking file and uploading to the Perseus. Processing, you just basically taking your matrix, doing something, and receiving another matrix. Mm-hmm. And analysis, when you are really actually, in most cases, it's just plotting something.
Yeah.
So like Hawaii plot or like Volcano plot, whatever. So multiprocessing, when we use multiprocessing?
So, I mean, it sounds like it's doing something with many things.
Many things inside of one. So basically, it's, let's say, speaking by language of GitHub, it's merging. So basically, we're taking 2 matrices, let's say matrices with identity, plot map of the identity from UniProt to ensemble, let's say, and our experiment data. And we're trying to match in order to map our UniProt IDs to the ensemble or another IDs. It's actually super useful.
I think we also used it in a tutorial, right, where we had the clustering and we exported the clustering and then we joined it back together.
Yep.
I think that's a multiprocessing.
Yeah. And export, like it's clear from the name. Basically, you have some matrix and you want to export it in a way of like table, like and I don't know, upload it somewhere. Okay, cool. Yeah, and actually this slide, I think, 3 years old. We kind of, you know, if you're plugging something into something, in software development, you should kind of declare how this plugin will look like. Like what you should expect from the plugin, what you should not expect from the plugin, and basically this expectation, declared expectation. Another nerdy way to say this is
API.
Interface. Okay. Yeah, you can say the API, true, but like the units of this API, okay, it's interface. Okay.
Okay.
We talked with you about this.
Yeah.
How did you forget? So
I do forget things.
So basically, we have like many interfaces, and like if you an endpoint want to create some processing activity, for example, you see we have many activities, and you want to implement processing activities, you should say what we're going to write activity should be nice, should implement all these functions or fields. But actually, we realized at a certain moment that actually it's efficiency of such a description and coming into the world of Perseus plugin programming is horrible because the activation energy it's too high, and people just don't do this, and like we're too scared about this. So as a result, we decided to move to another strategy instead of to go like academician, start reading code. And after 2 days, if you had good memory, you can start directly programming. Yeah. But instead of this, we're suggesting you to destroy Perseus. Basically, program something which will destroy it. Like basically, it's how kids are learning something to do. And okay, let's start to do this. Okay, what do we need for this? For this, we need to create first of all a C# project. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe let's fire up Visual Studio.
Yeah.
Right.
So as I said, we can use whatever you want. But for now, we just use Visual Studio 2017. There's a 2018 already.
Yeah, I think they announced it recently.
Yeah, but who cares? Like, it's not changed a lot. So let's open Visual Studio, and I guess we should create a new project. Yep. No, let's start from another point. Like, what do we want to do? Like, what do we want to make in Perseus?
I think it would be cool if I could take my matrix.
Yeah.
And basically, I usually only like to see the first few lines because I get confused. So I would like to be able to take, for example, let's say the 10 first rows of a matrix and ignore all the rest. I think that would be a really cool.
In Bash, there's a special command for this.
Yeah. So it's called the head command.
Head, like header. Yeah. Give me a head of the. Actually, probably I know I closed the. So yeah, cool. So we want to use the head. Of course, you understand this is sandbox. Like it's nothing like super.
Yeah,
cool.
I think it would be a good start to just kind of do something with the matrix.
Yeah. So let's create a new project. So how we name this project?
I think we should be descriptive.
I will make something, and Jan will tell me is it correct or not.
Okay, let's see.
So it's row first row provider. No, it's too long. First rows. First n rows.
Yeah, I think you will run into some trouble here because Perseus actually expects the project to be named something plugin.
No, or plugin something.
Or plugin something. Yeah. So it's probably best if you call it plugin head or something, or plugin first n rows. Or
yeah, that's actually really crucial. Because when we create our project, basically we're going to create some file, and this file we should copy to the Perseus. And basically Perseus, he's working on plugin style. Basically, he will search for any file which is starting from the plugin and something, and use this and load it, and like we will see this in Perseus. But if your library was not named plugin something, he will not find he or she. I mean, Perseus, it, but he. So we should say plugin head. Yep. So cool. So we created it, and basically it was actually Yeah, that's true. It will be many things created for us right now, and actually IDE making our life super comfy. Like it basically making almost everything for us, but like we basically should provide some logic. So okay.
Maybe instead of, I see that we have like a blank, like empty template, and we could start writing a lot of things. Like maybe we should like steal some stuff from the already existing code.
Yeah. So
right? I mean,
you want to say that okay?
What's the most simple processing in Perseus? Like, do you know something that's like super simple where we can have a first look?
Yeah, I mean, what I really liked, it was a filtering. Sometimes we used filter row based on random sampling.
I think there's one that's like even a lot more simple.
Yeah, but okay, but it's actually also simple, and we come back to this.
Okay.
So one simple thing is clone. Actually, this thing is remind me one thing. That's you see something here. Yeah. So just saying that Jorgen has a sense of humor. Especially look at this. You know, this is Fisher exact test. Ha ha ha. Anyway, so basically, what's clone activity? Actually, it's processing activity. Yeah. So what this activity is doing? It's taking the matrix which you had before and just without any dialogue, it's just copying and making the same matrix, completely the same matrix.
So that must be the most simple plugin that's in there, right? If you could understand what it does, it would be a great starting point probably for our activity.
I would say even more. It's most dummiest like activity which you ever have in Perseus. Okay. And if it's really the dummiest, it should be implemented in the simplest way. So
probably it's implemented in this Perseus plugin lib, right?
Yeah. So basically, the idea here that's you remember this Perseus plugin lib. It's basically here, and basically the next question: how we can find this clone? So
I think I would use the search bar.
You know, it's horrible. I tried.
Yeah, but if you give it some cool keywords, it actually works really nice.
I mean, okay, but just clone or ship? I don't know.
I think if you say, first hit.
It's not very frequently happened. So basically, you see, there's a clone processing, and there's a lot of code going here. And like, as for example, beginner user, I don't know what this code is doing. So, but what I can do, I can break Perseus. I can just copy this. Let's copy everything. Like basically open it, just a row, take basically everything, copy it, and let's insert to the Visual Studio. And nothing exploded, okay? So it's really safe.
Yeah, but there's lots of like red thingies now.
And red means what?
Probably an error, right?
Yeah, it's
it
all
can't
time.
be good.
It cannot be good. Like it should be either green, either blue. So the red means like horrible things. So and what's written actually here? It's written that the type or something namespace iMatrix processing could not be found, or I don't know, Perseus API cannot be found, and like cannot be found, cannot be found, cannot be found. What is it?
Maybe we have to tell our plugin where it can find actually these Baselib S and Perseus API.
What's this Baselib S? We never talked about Baselib S.
I don't care. Like let's see if we can find it, and we can just put.
Yeah, the question is how can we do it? Like probably you saw that's like, for example, Perseus API. This is basically, let's say, it's library which contains some part of the code. Basically, it's exactly declaration which was created by Perseus, which any plugin should satisfy to. So. Let's just, where can we find it? Like basically the code itself written here, but it's actually would be not really useful to load it and build it and copy it to our project.
Yeah, there must be some automated way, right?
It's not must be, like let's say 2 years ago it was no such method. But now, yeah, basically now you can do it. Basically, the thing is that usually, like if you have such situation that something is missing, you just basically find it in the NuGet packages shop. So basically, manage NuGet packages is just basically there's a NuGet. I think it's activity like basically it's action which like was great. It's website or let's say a library.
Yeah, it's
libraries.
basically the app store of C# programming.
Yeah. Okay. It's actually
right?
even.
So you need some stuff, and you don't have it, so you go there and you grab it.
Yeah. So basically, we have different So we have different things here. We have browse, installed, update. So basically, it's not installed yet. So we should go to browser and basically find it out. So voila.
Oh, it showed up.
Yeah.
Who is
actually,
this?
it's super
Max
cool.
Planck of who is
him?
this guy?
I think it's this guy. Anyway,
Okay.
so we can install. And actually, one of the really coolest thing about this NuGet, that's basically you can construct all infrastructure in a way that you will get the freshest
version.
I thought to say baguette. Anyway, you will get the freshest version of the library which you're actually searching for. Okay, so basically just clicking install. And let's hope that all red color will leave us. Okay. So basically, still not. Still not. I think because the reason because we are missing base libs.
Can you open the dependencies, maybe? Yeah, I think one of the things that happened to you here is that you created not the right project type.
Yeah, I'm sorry for this, but now we're going to create a new one. So that's actually really horrible.
So while Pavel creates it, let me just explain really quickly what happened. So in the programming world of C#, now there has been some big changes, and so you can actually create kind of programs in a new version of C#, and that's not supported by Perseus. So you have to be specific about the project that you create. But it should actually be quite straightforward.
Yeah, but for this, I think we should create a new one. I'm sorry for this, but basically if we create a new one, and now we are going to create a new project, and let's create a new project, and let's name it somehow now.
Yes, so maybe here in this Visual C#, maybe select the Windows desktop. I think that's the one that we need.
Yeah, and actually we need this guy. We need class library .NET framework, not standard. So
that's there's no point in going into why you need exactly this. For you, I think it's most important to know that that's what you need. But it's really easy to do it.
Yeah, but let's name it head 2, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy all code which we inserted previously and the new project. Yeah, it can happen. Actually, programming, it's just like going through many problems. And sometimes it's really very frustrating. Sometimes, no. So we should find actually this package once more. What was the name of this package?
Perseus API?
Yep. Just let's write it here directly. Oops, I found okay, perfect. If we install this again, hopefully.
I have my fingers crossed.
Oh, yep. So saying awk, did you read it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hope it was actually fine. So basically, that's a cool thing, you see? So no red color anymore. So basically no errors anymore. So basically all these things were found, and were found exactly in these libraries which we provided through the NuGet. Cool.
So why is this named clone processing? So
because I just
maybe
let's just name it head processing. But processing is also important. Let's just name it head processing. Fine.
Okay, cool.
So and there's many things here. So the has button. Actually, there's many parameters here, and I think we're not going through all of them.
Yeah, let's only change the things that we need to change, right?
Yeah, but how can I get to know about them?
Yeah, so the best way to learn about all the parameters is to go actually into the Perseus plugin lib and look at your favorite processing, and you will see exactly the correspondence. And if you want to something more formal, you can go into the Perseus API and actually look. Yeah,
you can. Basically, the idea you can say by this, or you can say I would play with this. I will, for example, see this Boolean variable has button, and I can change it on true, false, and I will see what's going to be changed. I'm just make a small hint, for example, for this first variable. I think first variable at least should say. So in the first variable just means that you see this fish exact test has a special button. But in the same time, you can find this. Listen, I don't remember where Fisher test.
In annotation columns?
Yep, exactly. So it's going to be in Fisher, it's annotation columns, it's going to be here, but you see he also Fisher exact test can be found as an independent button.
So probably if we look at the code, we would find exactly this, that this button has button is set to true.
Do you need this button today?
No, I think we don't need the button, and I think we should also not have the image.
Yeah, for sure, it's kind of image. It's exactly in the case of, you remember this sheep, which we saw? Now it's going to be null. So it's going to be nothing. So description, what is it? It's a copy of input matrix is generated. Okay, so basically if we go to it was a cloning, so if we go to the basic and clone, a copy of input matrix is generated. So basically, you see, it's basically one-to-one map. So basically, if you change, I don't know, if you remove dot in the code and added this project to Perseus, and the dot will disappear here. And basically, you see, this is kind of, again, just change something and see result. So what should we write for our processing? Select head first.
Select first few rows or something.
Few rows. So help output, actually, I don't remember what he's doing. Do you remember?
No, I never
I think it's not important. I think many things are important, not important.
Yeah, I think the name is probably important.
Yeah. So name is basically what? It's going to be a name what is written exactly here. It's going to be exactly this. What is written clone here, 5 characters. It's exactly the name. So let's change the name. How are we naming now today? Header.
Yeah.
Whoa. So, and one more thing, sorry, it would be last one. What is the, no, it would be not the, it's almost last one. And the heading, what is heading?
So basic, here it's basic, I've seen that before.
Yeah, but basically.
Probably it's here, right?
Yeah,
basic.
yeah. But basically, what will happen if I will write, for example, outliers?
Then probably it will be here in this menu once we edit it.
So that's the thing. It's just basically, if I will not write anything. Oh, no. If I will write something new.
Yeah, then just a new, there will be a new item in the GUI.
Yeah. So
maybe let's do that, right?
Yeah.
Let's maybe write tutorial or something.
Yeah. No, tutorial was in previous year. Let's try something else.
Tutorial 2.
Okay.
MQSS 2018.
And tutorial 18.
Hashtag.
No, it's okay. Okay. So one more thing is actually really important. That this is a URL. So what's this URL is about? You remember we said we are basically doing cloning activity. And this URL, if you click on it, it's basically the same address as here, is basically providing you a deeper description what this activity is doing. So basically, sometimes it's really rich of explanation. As you see this dummy activity, as a result, you don't need to describe a lot. So in this case, what should you write for the thing?
I think I skip it for after the paper is submitted, writing the documentation.
Okay. So we just name it null? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, actually, it's a good question. How? Yeah. Anyway, okay, sorry. So, and you see 2 more functions here. And actually just 2 functions here, processing data and get parameters. But let's leave it here for now.
So probably, right, if we run this plugin now, it should do the same thing like the clone, right? Because we didn't change anything yet.
Yeah, but how Perseus will know about what we made it here?
I think so. Yeah, I think we have to put it in the bathtub with the other plugins.
Yeah, so we just basically should copy it. Okay, and actually the good question. What does it mean create, build a project? Basically...
Yeah, so what we need to do is we need to change the text representation of the code into something that the machine will understand.
So basically in something like 50 years ago, how you named this process?
Yeah, just compiling.
Compiling. Okay, and It's actually how MaxQuant also works. So basically, we're compiling MaxQuant, giving into the public, people loading it, and running when you click on MaxQuant, basically, you are basically taking this compiling version and the process into another compiling version, and everything running and everything beautiful. Yeah, I just want to come back to one thing which actually many people writing in Google group, which I really don't like. By writing, I install MaxQuant. Do you know why it's wrong?
Yeah, because you don't, right?
Yeah,
you just copy it and then you run it. Yeah,
because actually there's no process. You know, installing it in something when you're really actually heavily compiling all these things from the code. It actually it's true for languages like C, yeah, but it's not true for C# or, for example, Java, because you're just running on your machine and actually you're not installing anything. Okay, it was actually a bit some small outlier, and yeah. So let's build it. How are we doing this? We just have to go to the build icon and build solution. So, and it's gonna be many things written in this output. Yeah, for sure. Something should be written sometimes. Something is written in error list. In this case, you will not be able to compile. But here, you see, something has appeared.
Succeeded.
Yeah, it's actually not frequently happened, especially in tutorials. So, and what should we do now? So basically, we have to, we can open it, and what we will see here. So we will see these libraries, which we actually downloaded through the NuGet. Mm-hmm. It's exactly these two libraries, and there's many things. But actually, what we're actually interested in is this plugin head 2. So basically, this is exactly
that's exactly the name of our project, right?
Yes. And actually, what should we do next? We just have to take this DLL and copy it to Perseus. And where exactly we should put this? So
where are the other plugins of Perseus?
Yeah, it's pretty correct.
Let's look for them. Probably.
So as you see, like if you go to the Perseus folder, there's nothing like DLL, some strange plugins, So if you go to bin folder, in this case, I'm quite sure you will find something. You see, yeah. So you see, there's a plugin time series, plugin photon, plugin base, etc., etc., etc. So looks like it's exactly the place where you should put our plugin. So I'm just copied it. I just really don't like this. It took so fast. Okay, looks like before we made it. Okay, but now we don't see it.
Yeah, so because I think Perseus only looks for the plugins on the startup.
Yeah, and actually it's actually true. So in order to our plugin will to be shown up in Perseus, actually we should rerun Perseus once more. So and yeah, if any questions, otherwise we kind of we dive into the dialogue between us, and yeah, please. So cool thing here, that's how we name it. We named our, you remember, heading. The heading was named tutorial. You see, this heading is named tutorial. We talk about this. If this heading is not present in Perseus basically in the beginning will create this heading. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what's happening here. It's basically a new heading tutorial, new basically
Can you
category.
Click on it already so we see if it's there?
And and you see basically header. Actually, if you click on it right now, at least it didn't crash, yeah? I mean, actually, sometimes there's a surprise. So, but okay, we have matrix, 100 items, looks like this, everything is fine. I created random matrix.
Yeah.
So, and I'm taking, I'm doing header.
Yeah, nothing happened.
And what does it mean?
Success.
We kind of created the first plugin, basically. And it's actually really cool.
Okay, we have a question here.
I mean, we're inspired by this. It's really cool. Okay.
Can I ask you something related to the version of .NET Framework? Is there any restriction or we should use special versions?
Yeah, I mean, we should have
4.5, 4.6, is there
any 4.5, 4.6 would be good.
Okay. Prior to that, probably not. I mean,
we didn't try. You should just try.
Okay, so 4.5 and
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any more questions? Okay, cool. So basically, what does it mean? What have we done for now? We made basically we took the previously implemented activity and basically copied it and changed a few things, and basically nothing useful. Basically, we just copied another activity. What should we do next?
So what we wanted to do was to take the header of the matrix and extract it.
Yeah.
So in my thinking, this is somewhat similar to the other filter. This has to be similar to the other filter things that we have in Perseus.
So,
right? So maybe if we get inspired a bit, by
but which exactly? We have actually many filters. So probably maybe the simplest would be the random sampling.
Yeah, probably, right?
So what is random sampling? You're just taking your matrix, and if you click on it, actually you will see what's exactly like. It's just you're selecting 100 random rows from it.
Yeah. So maybe if you select 10, right? Then
actually the good question is, where is it? It's a really selection of its subset, or it's actually can be repeated. If I write 1,000 times, it will. Yeah. And it's going to work. No, it's not going to work. Aha, it's just writing 100 items as a result.
Okay.
It's actually...
But I think we should check out the code and see if we can find something that we can use for our implementation.
So just one moment. It's named the filter rows based on random sampling.
Yeah. So if you search for that, right, you will probably find it on
yeah, and there's actually this a thing which we would wish to promote. Like promote that's basically you don't know how to implement something, you don't know how does it work, just basically read it. Just to find something which is a really pretty similar activity, just go there, read it, or just copy it and try to destroy it. Try to play with this. Try to make Perseus suffer. So, and where was it? It was in filter rows. Filter, I think it should be here. Yeah, of course, you can go through the search, but it can be done like this as well. So, and you see there's like filter random rows, and it sounds like something which exactly we need.
Yeah, sounds related.
So, basically, if you look at this, there's also many things described here. It has a button false, la la la.
Right, looks really similar to the other one, actually.
Exactly. Where basically all of them are I matrix processing. Anyway, so, but something is different here. Like, and what I really would like to highlight, I would like to highlight this function, process data. So this function has many variables, like as an input, but let's not go there.
I see something that has filter rows in it.
Yeah.
I think that's what we
You're
need.
going too fast. Wait a second. So what's going here? La 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 la. It's actually really hard, but this is what we really need. Like you see, Perseus plugin utils filter rows. Sounds like what's exactly we are searching for. So how we can find this function?
I think we search for it.
Plugin utils? No. You want to search for this?
Yeah.
Let's search for this. But it's so common name should be.
So maybe we search for
whoa.
There it is. Okay.
So basically, it's somewhere in Perseus plugin utils. We don't care, but let's just search it here. Okay, here we found it. So basically, this function, it's actually a bit complex function, and I really don't like it, but basically it's function taking the matrix and taking another parameter, this is rows. Basically rows which you would like to select.
Yeah, but
so
it seems in the middle it does something.
Yeah, in the middle, like there's many things is going on here. Yeah, but I think the most important thing is exactly here. Data basically take this matrix and extract rows, and it's just basically this function taking just one parameter, taking parameters like basically set of the integers, and this is a set of the integer represent the indexes of the rows which you want to select.
So I think in our plugin, right, we also get this matrix data.
Yeah.
And so maybe if we specify the rows and call this function, it will do exactly what we want.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, true. So in this case, let's just take it and copy it. Copy it to our code. We should copy it into the processing data. And just copy it here. But there's some problem, yeah? So you see, there's this.
The red line is back.
Yeah, there's a question.
Yeah, you can't search for the function or class in Visual Studio, right? Because this part of Perseus is not loaded. So you need to search in GitHub.
Yeah, there's two options here. You can basically load this GitHub repository to your computer and do it like in Visual Studio.
Yeah, okay.
But here it's so simple that's like we're just searching it just like this.
Yeah, okay, okay.
It's just a matter of the taste.
Okay, but if I load it, I could search it like right-click and show source and stuff.
Yeah, it's much simpler.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Okay, so we should create these rows. Which rows? Let's for the first moment, select first 15 rows.
Yeah.
Or, no, I don't like 15.
12?
12, okay. Let's select the first 12 rows. Let's say n rows, like 12. And now we should create the rows. That's basically going to be array of integers 0, 1, 2, 3 until 11.
Yeah.
So I know how you like to do this in usual. You like to do
Just
it
do it the way you like to do it.
No, I don't want to do this. Okay, let's make like a bit differently. Like I will create. I'm sorry, I really don't like it. So basically, I'm creating a new array like of the integers, and the length of this array is 12. Or maybe just let's write as n rows. Yep. And next we just have we have some numbers there, and we want to put numbers from 0 to 11. 11 including. So I'm just basically writing a cycle 4 from 0 until n rows, yeah? And every cycle is going to be added plus 1. So, and what we want to do, we want to put like in the position I in this matrix, we want to put basically I itself.
Would you be so kind to put some curly braces for me?
Oh my God.
Thanks.
This is a war of taste. So yeah, sometimes it's really important to like, yeah, it's actually general really good style to program. Just put curly braces there and not make Jan angry. Okay, so we selected, what have we done? We took, like we said, a number of rows 12. Now we're creating the basically dummy integer array with from 0 to 11 including. And next we are giving to another function which we just saw. It's just taking this matrix, taking this parameter of this array of integers and selecting all these rows and basically changing this matrix data which we have.
Okay.
So now what we're going to do, we're going to
let's see it in action, right?
Yeah, so basically we're going to build it. So, and again, where it's going to be at the end, in the same folder. Like you see, plugin head bin debug. So basically if you go there, it's going to be actually even the new one. You see it's 750, yeah, it's exactly the new one. So what should we do next? We should have to copy this to the bin. And it's not going to work. Oh, it's going to work. No, it's not going to work, actually. You know why?
I know.
Huh? Yes, it's exactly the thing. So basically, Perseus, let's say, somehow connected this library. It should first of all close it. And now, if I say continue, it's going to proceed through. So completely right. So let's open Perseus. Next, we want to open a new matrix, create a new random matrix. And the next, we just want to select, you see, it's 100 items. And next, we're making header and
12 items.
we have just 12 items instead of 100.
That's so much better than the 100 items.
Yeah. So let's do for 15. Let's do for 16 now.
Okay, let's.
Like imagine, like today I was in a good mood and I decided to increase the number, and I change now on 16. And build again. Close the Perseus. Copy this DLL. We see 716, a new one, and okay, previous this was 12. Sorry, yeah, 12, and now it should be 16. So Jan, bet on it.
Okay, let's hope it works.
France or Croatia? I'm voting for France.
That's good. Okay.
So,
yeah, but then, so now you all the time you have to like change the plugin, recompile, copy it. Is there like some way? I mean, many of the things in Perseus, right? They have parameters.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. You remember this clone activity was just like we just click on it and it was done,
Yeah, right.
and without saying anything.
Yeah, it's exactly the same like ours now.
Yeah, and it's really not cool because actually what would be really super satisfying for us is actually to select this number, like to write this number in the interface. So how can we understand how to do this?
I think our filter.
Yeah.
Our random sampling filtering thingy had exactly something similar, right?
Yeah. So if you go to this filter rows and go to filter rows based on the random sampling, like not like a clone, now you will see some GUI. Yeah, you will see some dialog, and we're asking you to write number of rows and a different filter mode, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we just steal the number of rows from them, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be perfect.
So it's exactly number of rows, exactly what we are searching for. So in order to find how it's implemented, let's just go to...
Yeah, let's just look it up, right? We have the code.
Yeah. So of course we can load this GitHub and look in the Visual Studio, but here we just can just go and find it out. I think actually I even already searched for once for this. Okay. So filter random rows, processing data, we already got it. But like there's one more thing, one more function like this, get parameters. It's actually, honestly, like, okay, look what this get parameters is doing. It's just basically like returning some like a set of parameters and one of the variable named the number of rows, something like this.
Yeah, I think that's the one we need.
Yes. So basically, I would suggest just to take this thing and copy it. And insert where? Insert exactly in the get parameters. Okay, if speak a bit more serious, okay, let's first of all delete it.
Yeah, let's remove the last one. I don't think we need it for now.
Yeah. If it speak more serious, in a moment when you're clicking on activity, this function going to be called first. But when you specify all parameters and clicking OK on this activity, like OK on this activity, the processing function will be called. So cool. So basically, let's again basically close Perseus and look at again. So a number of rows, we're asking to give this a number.
I think now we basically now we are still just setting 16, right? So we need to somehow get the data back out.
Yeah, a good point.
Yeah.
But okay, one small thing. You see this number. It's actually this number is basically default number which GUI providing you. So basically, when you click on the Perseus, it already would be some pre-filled GUI, and this pre-filled GUI contains this number, which is basically mdata row count. Let's just for fun specify something just to see this actually work. Mm-hmm. So let's just write 33. Okay, and can we try? Can we try right now? So basically, what we're doing right now, we're going to build it again. We are going to take it and copy it to Perseus. And run Perseus. So basically now, if we create the random matrix and go to tutorial, make a header, we see it's 100 items right now. It's written 33, exactly random value, exactly value which we specified as a default value. It was exactly 33. We can actually specify whatever. Before it was specifying data row count. It basically means that how many rows in your matrix which you want to change exist. So now, actually, you see it's specified 33, and let's leave it how it is.
Yeah, okay.
And what we're going to receive? We're going to receive, instead of 33, we are going to receive 16. So
yeah, I think we made a mistake.
Let's not call this mistake. Let's call this
work in progress.
Work in progress. Yeah. So basically, what's happened here? We just specified this variable, but we didn't provide it to the function process data. Basically, it's still 16 here standing here. So how can we write actually this?
So when I look in the header of the function, next to this matrix data, I also see something that's called parameters.
Yeah, but this is actually it's bold hint.
So
let's put it this way. I was putting it a bit different way.
Again, yeah, stealing from the existing code is always a good option.
Yeah. You see, this is number of rows. It's actually the same as written here, and it's actually really important. So basically, what we're going to do is just basically saying there's a parameter somewhere which was specified in this GUI, and in this parameter there's some integer value, and the name of this parameter, a number of rows. It should be written there. And it's just let's again steal it, like. Just steal it, and that's it. Okay, and actually it's really important. It's really important that this name and this name should be the same. Otherwise, we cannot find it.
You get some nasty exceptions then.
Don't force me to try. So, yeah, if you have any questions, please ask. Okay, so what we're going to do right now, we're going to copy this DLL, which we just made, to the Perseus, run Perseus again, and now we will see 33 in the GUI, but we can change it. Or let's not change it again. Let's leave it how it is.
Yeah, let's make sure that it works as expected.
Yeah, so now it's 33.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's try once more. Let's specify not 33, but basically 15 out of 33. You see, this matrix 100, this matrix 33, and this matrix is 15. Amazing. It's actually really excellent. Excellent until the moment when you got idea that you should break it. Can you suggest some easiest way to break it? Right now, we have matrix 15. Nasty guy. So we're writing 30 in a matrix which has 15 rows. Let's just predict what's happened. We just basically, it's actually going to be really horrible. So basically what's happening here, we're just creating the integer with matrix array, and it's going to be really 30 elements there. And we're going to ask to extract from matrix, which is basically 15 rows length, we're going to ask to extract 30 rows.
Yeah, that's probably not going to work.
It's probably going to end up
I'm
really
really
bad.
curious to see what happens.
So, yep. This is how we're naming it. It's not that screen or, okay. Yes. So it's basically error. Actually, we already saw this error when we tried to start max quantum mono.
Okay.
Not this error specifically, but same type of the machine
kind of
language.
levels of kind of information. Add.
And it's basically what we are working most of the time when we're answering for U-track or for like bug reports. Basically, this is bug.
Yeah.
And but you see, it's so simple to make it. There's like.
That's why we have so many of them.
So, but how can we deal with this? And let's say, how can we deal with this nicely? Like, I will show you what does it mean nicely. What was before, it was not nice. Like before, we just basically we wrote some message, which I think every normal user will be angry to see. But let's create, for example, some. Let's look at some interesting case. For example, if you upload the matrix and without specifying any file, whatever, you write awk, what will happen? At least Perseus will not crash. And
let's see what happens.
So you will get nice message, because we expected that user will behave nicely. So user will start this activity without actually specifying any single file. And we wrote really pretty nice message. Please specify a file name. And this was not. It was warning.
Yeah. Last
warning. So let's do something the same yeah. What was the name? Wait. It was up. And how we can find how to write error message?
I would probably look at the existing code.
Yes. So again, we really promote it. Like, you want to implement something similar, you want to change something, just going some similar activity, some similar pattern, and finding in the code, and basically changing it. So generic matrix upload. Let's find it in GitHub. So generic matrix upload. No. Oh, voila. So generic matrix upload. So a lot of code, not interesting, not interesting. Okay. You see, this is actually what we are searching for. So basically, is it? Yeah, it's. I think
it's written there, something with error string, and then please specify a file name.
Yeah, basically this file name, it's basically we took it, you see, we took it in the same way, get parameter from the parameters. And this parameter named file is exactly how it was called. Maybe you remember, it's exactly this file. And just give me this. But if it's going to be null or empty, process info error string going to be exactly this message which we saw, and just return. Don't do anything, just return. It's going to be, as a result, like Perseus basically will get this error message, will write you, and do nothing. What we should do, we should copy. As usual, like we can name it stealing, we can name it learning. So where we should do this? So we got number of rows.
Yeah, probably we should check if the number of rows that were specified, if there are really that many rows already in the matrix.
Yeah. So basically, what should we do? And rows.
If it's larger.
More than what?
Probably the rows of the matrix. Then it is an error.
Yeah, but number of, yeah, you're correct. So it was row count. Yeah. Basically variable named pretty native. Row count. If it's more, what we are going to write?
Cannot extract more rows than already in the matrix. Or please specify less.
Extract more rows which exists. Fine. You know what's going to happen? I know what people usually do. We're taking negative numbers. You know what's happened in negative numbers? We're going to create, basically, we are going to create array with negative length, which is
also won't go well.
Yeah, this is for sure goes also not well.
So maybe also check that it's larger than 0.
Yeah, you see, less than 0. So you see, this is actually really like we should deal with all possible scenarios, and there's many scenarios. It really depends from your imagination. So let's just basically compare a number of rows. If number of rows less than 0, less than 0, let's write some really a bit stronger message. Do not do this again. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. So, okay, let's build it and move it to the Perseus. So just, okay, it's the new one. So, sorry. So let's put it in Perseus and run Perseus. And let's say we are making testing control. So basically, we are making random matrix, running a tutorial, and let's run with normal number, 33. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
So let's now run with, now we have 33, we have this matrix, now we're going to take 1000. Cannot extract more rows which exist. So, actually, is it correct in English?
Almost.
Okay. So if you write, for example, minus 33, what will happen? Don't do this again. So perfect. So basically, I think it's really important. There's several important points here. That's first important point. It's making plugins. It's even using C#. It's not so complex task. Second thing, if you want to make some plugin, just use the code which like doing the pretty similar things which you want to do. And the third thing, basically, yeah. And third thing, that there's a many way to crash plugin. So, and be careful with this and really think about all possible combinations. I wrote one parameter, and you saw there already was 2 ways to destroy our software plugin. But if you have the second parameter, third parameter, the combination of this parameter can blow your mind and blow Perseus plugin. So think about this carefully. Okay. So, and one more comment, of course. We have, I guess we have a plugin Perseus tutorial. Basically, yeah. So basically, on the GitHub, Jan basically pushed the what we are doing right now, basically this code which we are made right now. And basically, if you want to start from this point, which we just made with you, you just can go to this plugin tutorial and basically clone on your computer and continue to destroy Perseus. So perfect. But I think you have something to say.
Yeah, so what if I don't want to do any C#, right?
Why you don't want to do C#?
Yeah, I love C#. I did most of the network things in C#.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
but then I had this really cool tool that I already wrote that was in Python. And I really wanted to have it, make it available on Perseus.
Yeah, but why not just take this tool and write it on C#?
Yeah, sometimes that's not really feasible, right? It might take way too long to re-implement everything.
Yeah, so this actually really totally makes sense. So basically imagine there's a such tool which are doing many things, all whistles, all fireworks, and basically you are just, it really doesn't make any sense to rewrite it. It really makes sense, reuse it. And basically, for this you need to use basically Python and or R, like for example, and how can you make Perseus aware about these things?
So if you want to, I can just show you.
My God, we are really bad actors.
Okay, so thanks, Pavel, for showing everything in C#. And yeah.
Yeah, but just one comment. Now I'm bad policeman.
Okay. So the first thing I will do is like close Visual Studio, like goodbye. It was nice. And I will also close this.
We have some slides actually. From which stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll be good here with the Perseus.
Okay, what's happening?
Just 1 second. Okay, so Pavel already mentioned this plugin tutorial repository here on GitHub. Let me just dismiss this. Where you find all the things that we do, and I just want to highlight one thing, that there's like several sections. There's the C# plugin API, and there's also the script plugins, which is how you run scripts that you wrote in Python and in R, in Perseus, and these plugins, they already exist. So I will just open Perseus and show them to you. So you might see, because WGCNA that actually is implemented in R, or in the networks, there's this Photon, which is implemented in Python. And I really want to encourage you to try them out, and I will try to showcase some of the things that you can do. So there's a very generic plugin that allows you to run your scripts without having the buttons. So if you want the buttons, then you have to do C#. If you're fine without the buttons, you can use something more generic. For example, here this external.
But it's going to be something like clone, no? Without any buttons.
So if you want a separate menu entry for your plugin, and the button or the image is optional, but if you want a separate menu entry for it, you always have to program it in C# for now.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can write some C# code that does basically nothing, only specifying the name in the button, and the rest is done in Python.
Okay, it's just basically how it's done for a Photon. Or
yeah, exactly. That's how it's done for WGCNA, for example. So it's just all the hard things, like doing the analysis. These are all done in R, and on top of it, there's a very simple R C# code that basically adds the name and the icon. Okay. And the code, for example, for the Photon, here it's the same. So that's a very small C# plugin on top of a lot of Python code. And the code for this is available online if you want to get inspired, if you want to copy and learn from this. But I think for today, I will focus on this one button here that's called external. And it has two different buttons. for 2 different programming languages, for R and Python. And if I click on it, for the Python one, I actually get this kind of, I will always get the same parameter window where I have to specify which script I want to run, and also I can specify some additional arguments. And one thing that's common to all the plugins that do not use C# but use some external program is that you have to tell Perseus where is this program found. So, and Perseus will try to be smart about it, but it cannot, so it doesn't have any magic powers. So you will have to kind of specify it if it's something that's not Python or R. And here, this is basically for developers, for guys like us, right? You
okay.
and
one. I have many questions.
That can actually, so you can try your things. But so this was just. I wanted to start from how it looks in the GUI, and I think now we will get our hands dirty.
Yeah, but can I ask?
Go ahead.
So, but for example, how can I write additional arguments? Can you describe a bit more? Like, for example, if I want to select a header, like 100 headers, I should write it here, or what? Where should I do it? And what's this line about at all?
Yeah, so I can show you in a second, but basically at some point we will put in the script file the script that we want to run, and we will just type 100 in the additional arguments.
Okay, but if you have more than one argument?
Yeah, then you would just, I mean, that's like your choice. You could separate them with spaces or with some special characters.
So script himself will take these parameters and do whatever he wants. Yeah, exactly. I see your point.
Okay. Okay. So since I showed you in the GUI that you need to have this, you have to specify this Python. So that means that if you program a plugin in Python, you will have to make sure that it will only work if the people who are using your plugin also have Python installed, right? So that's one of the big limitations. And the best way to check it is to open the command line. So I just press the Windows button and I click Command. And I can open this command line. And if I can write Python minus version, and it returns something, that means that Python is correctly installed for Perseus to use.
Okay. But anyway, Perseus basically found this Python, and that's why the button is green.
You suggest Anaconda there, but can we or there's a specific reason why you suggest that?
So the question is, if you have to use Anaconda Python, no, you don't have to. You can use whatever you want. It's just that the installation instructions that we provide, they're just with Anaconda for simplicity. Or I'm actually not sure if maybe they're. So I have both, and it both works. Okay, so let's see if we can actually start writing a nice Python script to maybe do exactly the same that we just did in C#.
How many lines this will take?
Okay, I think we have Notepad++. So the first step is to just open a text editor. I mean, if you are a savvy Python programmer, you might have your favorite kind of text editor, IDE. This is very simple stuff, so it will start very simple. And as I like to do in Python, I just start coding, right?
Just say one.
So there's a library that's called Perseus Py that is super useful when you program Python scripts for Perseus, because it contains a lot of functions to easily read and write the data so that Perseus will understand. So that's usually the first thing that I do. And I don't just import the Perseus Py itself, but rather I import a version of pandas that has the right functions I need. So if you never heard of pandas, just follow along. The code itself is super descriptive.
But just one small question. So this Perseus Py and the Panda, We like in C# we have NuGet for this, like basically some shop, let's say, application shop where you can find them. But how Perseus Pi, how Python finding Perseus Pi?
So these things. So first of all, in Python, if you want to install a package, there's the pip program.
Yeah.
So if you say pip install Perseus Pi,
you should do it before. If you take the new computer, run like whatever you write right now, like if you run Python and write import Perseus Pi,
yeah,
it will be error.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so this would be pip install. This would be the command. But for anyone that's done Python, this should be quite straightforward. So I'm sorry if I skip over some steps, but you have the reference on GitHub. There's a really step-by-step. There's all the code there. Okay, so what we need to do somehow in our code is we need to. So we have this PD module now that has a new function that's called pd.read Perseus, and we somehow need to read from some input file. Input file. I will just put in some strings. We will, in a second, fill them with some arguments.
Okay. So basically, it's reading matrix, yeah?
Exactly. And we can save this, for example, in a variable that we call df.
Yeah. Df, because, tell me if I didn't program on R?
Yeah, so short for data frame.
Thank you.
You can use any kind of naming here. And then Pandas has this great function that's called add that I can use to just run it. And then I can use this new function on the data frame that's called write Perseus to some output file.
Okay.
And that should somehow do the same thing that I want to do now.
Okay, one question. Okay, so I have experience on Python, but not really big experience. But I really didn't get the moment you import something from Perseus Pi, but you're working like with Panda. What's going on here? You didn't import Panda.
Yeah. So Pandas is this awesome library, and it has this cool functions that all go like read CSV,
yeah,
read table,
yeah, which
write CSV, and so on. And I just wanted to kind of give you the same feeling, but I can't modify Pandas directly, so I have to do some hacking to basically, if you use this import statement from Perseus Pi import PD, what you get is a modified Pandas version that has these two extra functions.
And just this or more?
A few more things.
Okay, but not whole Panda possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, so this PD, this is the whole Pandas. You can do everything.
Okay, so it's really important.
Yeah, it's a monkey patched version.
Okay.
Okay, so these few lines of code that I just wrote, they're really the core functionality. And now we need to do the piping, which is always the more boring part, but it's also important.
What do you mean piping? Sorry.
Yeah. So you see that I wrote input file and output file.
Yeah.
I don't really know what will be the input file and the output file, but Perseus will tell me when it calls the script.
So basically, you want to take this 33 or 15 or 16 somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But I also need to know the matrix itself.
Yeah. Because before we were just receiving matrix as it is, but now you are talking with Python.
So what I really like to do whenever, so this Python script, it will receive some parameters from Perseus, and whenever a script receives parameters, you should write a proper parameter parser. And I really like to use this argparse module that's like standard from Python, and you will see that it's like super simple, self-descriptive.
So basically, this thing helps you to take parameters and parse it somehow nicely. That's it.
Mm-hmm. The script. So I can provide some description for the name of the script, for example, head. And then I can add some arguments. And I know that for sure always Perseus will provide me with the input file.
And it's going to be first parameter, like in basically, it's going the input parameter is basically going to be some presentation of the matrix, and the rest is going to be what you will write in argument argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sorry, just to be know. After the input file, it's going to be space. Yeah, just to know.
Yes.
Okay. And how?
So I hope these parameter names are descriptive enough, and I can parser.
Wait a second. You said about input, but you didn't say anything about output. Like output going to be also added to this parameter, but from the last parameter, or where?
Exactly. So you don't have to know much, but always you have to specify these two arguments, and the order is always the input and then the output.
Okay.
And if you want to specify additional arguments, you have to do that in the beginning. But I will show it in a second.
I see.
Okay, and then the input file we can get it from the. Sorry, we can get it from the arguments arg.input file, input. And the output file, we can get it from the output. Okay, and then now we can save our work, for example, in the desktop. And let's call it head processing. .py, save it. Okay, so given that I didn't do any typos, this should already be working. So let's see. Okay, so here we have our Perseus session, and we can try to run our script on it. So we choose this external.
But wait, we didn't specify any head number of the rows. So
yeah,
in this
yeah.
case, is the body just clone, yeah? Just the same as a clone?
No, I think we chose some fixed number, right? We chose.
12.
I chose 12 for the beginning.
Okay.
We will see how to do this with the parameters in a second. So now on the desktop, I should have this head processing. And now I can just click OK. And I see, OK, argument parser has no attribute parse arguments. So I made a typo in my Python script. But the good thing is that anything that you run also externally,
yep.
You will always get the error reports so that you can understand what's going wrong. And you can actually, for example, give the user information about misused parameters, and this will help you in many. So I'm not so sad about this. So let me just look in my cheat sheet. Yeah, so instead of parse arguments, for some reason this function is called parse arg, so definitely not how I would have called it. But now we can just try again, and since it's not really interfering with how Perseus is running, but it's like an external file, we don't need to reopen Perseus or anything. We basically have to specify the script again, and then we click OK. Okay, it's another typo. So the function is not called write Perseus, but to Perseus. That you know that you. Sorry for that.
So we have just two functions now, yeah? Like read and to Perseus.
Yeah. So there's some cool functions, for example, for reading and writing networks as well.
Okay.
But the idea is that most of the processing you would not do with any of the functionality that Perseus Pi provides, but rather with the
Panda.
With the pandas, for example, or others. Okay, so here you see something happened, but it's not what we wanted. And I already there's another bug in my code because we set here this head, but we didn't use the output.
So basically, but no, let's name df all new.
df
new
short or something.
Short. Yeah. Yeah, I see. So basically, you just move it somewhere, nowhere.
Yeah.
And save the previous one. Okay.
So I'm sorry for my sloppy coding, but
it's fine.
I'm tired.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay. And now?
And now it's working.
Cool.
Okay. So you see, we have our most minimal script, and it's a lot shorter than the C# version.
Oh, come on.
And so if you would. So now let's add a parameter, which is super simple.
parameter email for this is 12.
Exactly. So what we have to do, we have to say parser.add argument.
How you name
For
it?
example, number of rows.
Oh, come on, so long. N rows.
No.
Oh, come on.
And the help will be, yeah, how many
Rows.
many rows to retain from the, yeah, I mean, you can go from the top of the table,
Programming not for lazy people.
right? But that's why you learn touch typing.
Oh, come on.
Okay. So now what? And so okay, now we modified our script, and we can, we can try it.
Wait a second. Can you come back? No, please come back.
You want to?
Oh, you didn't specify it.
Thanks.
It's still 12.
Arg dot number.
Basically, you just have to repeat what is written there. And you know what's really surprised? Notepad++ really recognizes the syntaxes of the Python. It's really cool. Okay.
Okay. So now let's try it. So we open it here, and if we select our script file, right, you see that we don't get any like dedicated window for the parameters.
Yeah.
So we have to be aware that the script file that we are calling, it wants us to provide another parameter.
I can ask you run right now.
So if we just run it right now, we will get some message.
Yeah.
Something about a missing argument.
But it's pretty descriptive and nice.
Yeah, I mean, so there are some nasty ways to pass command line parameters in Python. I really discourage from using them. You should always use this argparse library, and then you will get nice error messages.
Yep.
So, okay, so now we know that there was some error. So when we run it again, we will remember, okay, we need to specify another parameter. Yeah, I already spotted one more mistake. So let's run into it. So if you say 100,
but wait.
we click OK.
But
we get an error.
Of course, because you don't know, you should write the name of this parameter before. Like, what is 11? I mean.
Yeah. So the issue was not that. So the parameters here, they will go by the order of the that we specify them, and the additional ones, they always go first. So that's just something that you have to know. But that's why that's written in the documentation.
No, wait, but why you cannot just write number of, like, line, and number of rows, minus number of rows? Can you do it or not?
Yeah, I could do that.
I mean, it's just much more intuitive, honestly. Just, you can do it even now, like, without changing anything.
Okay, I did it. So now specifying the parameters looks a bit different. Yeah, let's select our script. And we say minus number. Did we do underscores or?
I told you, n rows. It should be n rows.
Equals, I don't know, how many do you want? Let's say like 32.
You should write equal, really. There. Okay.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what we get.
Okay, cool. Okay, I think one more thing, like error handling. Yep. But I think better to make it, otherwise I should repeat it. Okay, you can, okay.
If you have the equal... So if you usually use Python over command line, you can just have the space in between. Why do you have the equal now?
Yeah,
Does that matter at all?
I don't think it matters. It's just a personal taste. I think you can even have like space equal space and then the number.
Okay. But
it's just so. I think I can. Yeah. Okay. When I say number of rows, I can just say 11.
Cool.
Yeah, so that also works.
Can I ask you one thing? Can you click on activities? Like usually in Perseus, when you click on activities, you see more additional things. And basically, yeah, so basically you can see what you wrote before, because like it's really, really useful. You just can see how you create this much better.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Okay, so the same kind of approach is possible with R scripts. And I think in the interest of time, we will skip it. But all the code for the R script is online.
Yep.
So I can actually show it to you. For example, the same R script. Yeah, it also wouldn't look much more complicated than the Python script.
Okay.
And for all of you guys who would want to venture in this realm and, for example, use the scripting interface for Perseus, please do talk to me. Like drop me emails or just when you see me. And I'm really eager to help you guys and to get this kickstarted. Because at the moment, it's mostly me using it.
But I think it would be really nice if it would be written somewhere in Google group that if you somebody asking basic question and some will answer for this, you will kind of you don't need to ask you several times, and it would be useful for community. I would suggest to write it in a Google group. Yep.
One more question. So this way you could also more or less streamline an analysis, right? If you just have a complete pipeline in Python that reads in a table and so like for working in a core facility, you could write a whole script for the biologists or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they could just select the table and run it and then get the output table, right? And so you kind of have an automated...
Yeah, so if you already wrote the entire pipeline in Python, you have to remember that you have one input file and you only get one output file. So, but if that's fine for you, that's no problem. You have to know though that if you use Python in any external libraries, you have to tell your users how to install Python and all these libraries. But other than that, it's really all up to you to do what you want here.
Yeah, but basically you also can do just save it as a Perseus session and just give it this Perseus session and ask people to open and it's going to be fine. So it's also a solution.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just let's say one more thing about R. So basically in R, you basically making all these things. And also, can you just show the interface with R? Is basically the same or not?
Yeah, it's super similar. So, so I already talked about Perseus Pi. Perseus Pi, which is the library that basically contains the interface that you can use to easily work with Perseus. And there's the counterpart for R, which is called Perseus R. Very creative naming. Oh.
Why R, not with small character?
Sorry.
Okay.
Perseus R.
Yeah, with big character.
Okay, which is an R plugin that's also super easy to install, and you can see here that it has kind of the same. So I want to just highlight it has this pass parameters. So if you want to pass the parameters in the XML file, so that's in this case not super useful, but it has this read Perseus functionality that allows you to read the Perseus matrix into a data table in R. And for example, this actually shows you how to perform co-expression analysis from R that you can call from Perseus. So now this actually became part of the release version of Perseus, so you can all try it.
Okay, cool.
And then there's this write Perseus function that goes the opposite way.
Cool.
Okay.
So maybe we should ask questions.
Yeah, let's do a last round of questions, and I think then we're done and everyone can go home.
Jan?
Yes.
I have a question, actually.
Okay.
Can you go back to the Python code, please?
Which part do you mean?
The file Notepad.
Notepad.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so I think the output file should always be some kind of data frame. Is this right?
Yeah. So Perseus basically expects that what you will provide as an output will be a matrix in the Perseus format. And that's exactly why I implemented this Python code, so you don't have to worry about these things. If you stay within kind of the land of reasonable Python programmers that use pandas, then you will have this convenience function that will just write it in a correct way. Yes?
And And Pandas is just
You should put microphone.
And Pandas is just loaded in the
Perseus Pi.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't, if Pandas is updated from the developers, you just don't need to do anything.
No.
Just download it.
Yeah.
So we use the last one.
Yeah. So actually, there's a new version 0.23.1 that has introduced a bug into Perseus Pi that was fixed recently. So there's always the latest. So whatever version you have of Pandas installed will be the one that Perseus Pi uses. Yeah.
And maybe another thing, have you thought about doing a log file for making your life easier for the bug fixing? So in general.
Of the plug of the.
No, not the plugins.
Just in general.
Perseus.
In general, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Something.
So that's just like a fun fact from the development version that when we run it inside of Visual Studio, then we actually see a lot of the bug output. But for now, yeah, we want to keep things simple, so we don't spam you with the log output. Because we get people complaining about, I don't know, when they have the Perseus in Dropbox and then it keeps notifying them that something changed.
Maybe that they could switch it on if they have a reproducible error in case, because the message you wrote here, for example, to yourself is, I guess it's hard to reproduce it from that.
No, I mean, you just provide like Perseus session and basically print screen or just this message together. I think it's enough.
I mean, we should definitely consider that.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure.
I don't think it would be harmful. But
yeah, I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So what's the reason why you have to why you have to import Pandas through Perseus Pi? So other packages does work for Python, like if you just import them, or?
So you always can do things however you want, right? So you can write your own parsing code for the Perseus tables and your own writing code for the Perseus table. I just personally provide one easy way to do it, and that's using Perseus Pi and getting the Pandas version from there. That has this two magic functions added for reading and writing the tables in the Perseus format. And it actually also has the same functionality for networks, not using Pandas, but using some other libraries. And I think that at least for me was the most reasonable approach. But yeah, contributions to these libraries are welcome. So if you have some idea about some library you want to use, where you're kind of missing the connections, then yeah, let's talk about that.
I think that's it for today. Yep.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Pavel. Have a nice evening.